We're going to make an ebook using Google Slides. I like to use Pixabay and Unsplash for my photos. That way I know exactly who took the photos and what the rights are. Plus they are professional quality photographs. I right-click to copy the image address, then go back to my slide, insert image by URL, and paste the URL. The background image needs to stretch completely over the slide. So I zoom out, that way I have room to resize and position the image. Then I crop the image to be the size of the slide so that I can see to position my other images. I do the same thing for the picture of a lighthouse, which is going to be the cover of my book. It gets cropped to roughly the proportions of a book cover, with just a little bit extra on the left side to be the book spine. Now we are going to make the spine look rounded. First thing we do on the shape we insert is make sure we turn off the border color. Then we are going to use a partially transparent gradient to give it the shadow that you see on a book spine. Make sure your gradient goes from side to side instead of top to bottom. If you forget this step, you can always go back and adjust it. We adjust the translucency so that you can see the spine color through the color. Once again, you can always go back and readjust. Now we're going to do the highlight that's at the front cover side of the spine. Once again, make sure it doesn't have a border. This time we want a gradient that softens to each side instead of just one side. So we add a stop in the middle, make both edges completely translucent, and make the middle stop a translucent white. The right edge also gets a gradient to give the impression of a book flap that bends around the cover. The book needs some thickness, so we're going to add a drop shadow. Select the book cover. Click on Format, then Format Options. You'll see a panel with all sorts of interesting things you can do, but we're going to add a drop shadow to give the book depth. This will work best for us with the light coming from the upper left. The more distance your shadow has, the thicker your book looks. We can also use the drop shadow to add a glow, and I'm going to add a sunset glow around my title. A glow has no distance. I've chosen a color that's about the same shade as the sunset. Okay, so now we have the body of the slideshow, which is the body of the ebook. This will be 2 pages per slide without a title at the head. You can adjust it the way you like. The red centering and aligning lines and the blue spacing lines can help you with setup. You don't need to do this, but I'm going to put a gradient line in the middle to be a line between pages. Adding more stops lets you control areas where things get darker or lighter more suddenly. We can duplicate as many of these pages as we need. If this were a chapter book, I might want a table of contents with links to the slides where chapters start. To the left, I have thumbnails of the slides with slide numbers before each one, so I can see that I'm linking to slide 3. There's a lot of blank space around the book cover. That's fine, but I'd like to make it look a little less dark, more welcoming. I've found a lot of great images, but we're going to look for something with a transparent background so it can blend in. And now this compass rose looks like it might be a design on the wood. We'll do the same thing with the pencil just to add some balance on the other side. If we resize the pencil from the corner instead of from one side or another, it keeps the same proportions. We want the shadow angle on the pencil to match the shadow angle on the book, so it looks like the light is coming from the same direction. We can copy and paste the formatting, but then we need to adjust it so we don't end up with a floating pencil. Share your ebook with teachers or classmates. You can add people individually as viewers, or you can set the link so that anyone at our school with the link can view it. People can read your ebook in presentation mode or in the view they'd use if they were editing. I hope you've had fun with this and will be able to use the things we've covered.